Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today at Hyper Wrestling. We're joined with indie wrestler Holidead. Holidead, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me join you, Hybrid Wrestling. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll get right into it. What were your early memories of pro wrestling?
Like the first memory?
Yep.
Early, okay, the first match I ever saw, please don't judge me for this. It was a house show. My cousin took me. I didn't know anything about anything, what was going on. I just saw this black bald dude came out. He was hyped. He was like, I'm like, okay, who is this guy? He had on red and white trunks. I'm asking my cousin, I'm like, who is this? He's like, oh, it's Virgil. I'm like, okay. I'm like, he's a good guy or a bad guy? He's like, he's a good guy. I'm like, okay. The music changed. It got slow. This bald dude came out with a flag, and this big behemoth dude was behind him. And as a kid, I'm like, oh. So I asked my cousin, I'm like, who's that? Who's that? He's like, it's Yokozuna. Jesus, like, don't you know nothing? You know, I'm like, is he a good guy or a bad guy? He's like, it's a bad guy. So as I'm watching, I'm watching theatrics and everything. It couldn't have been like 60 seconds. The match was over. Yokozuna squashed Virgil, and I was an immediate fan. And I needed more of that in my life. That was my first moments of wrestling.
Okay, now as you started to get into the wrestling product itself, who were your favorite wrestlers growing up?
The one and only, the Phenom, the Lord of Darkness, the Undertaker. I always say the dark side is the best side. It's not just talk. It is real life. I rep Team Darkside all day, every day. You got a dude making coffins, building graves for folks. He's gonna put you on fire. Like, he's sacrificing folks. I'm gonna put my signal on your head. I'm gonna put you on my cross. Like, that's some badassery shit. Like, yeah, Taker all day, every day. Razor Ramon, he was the reason I threw toothpicks at people. Like, that was just fucking boss to me. Like, yeah. And Macho Man. Oh yeah, cream rises to the top. Top three right there. There you go.
All right, now how did you get your start into pro wrestling?
I got my start into pro wrestling. If anybody wants to train to be a wrestler, you have to go to a school. Go to a reputable school. Do your research. Just because somebody has a name or whatever, they might not be a good teacher. So check schools out or whatever. But I did. I was fortunate enough to train under the legendary Gangrel. Some of you know him from WWE Attitude Era, but he's been around forever. He's been wrestling since he was 17 years old. He's wrestled for WCW, WWE, like all the territories, everything. Like since 17 till now, like that's all he's done. Like he lives, breathes this. He's passionate about this. Like that's the man that's helped me build my character. Like helped me hone. He's always told me to hone into my dark side, and I need to tap into my own demons and release that out in wrestling. And he's always said you got to be 100% with what you do, because if you're not genuine, the crowd is going to know. So you got to be real. So shout out to the Wrestling Pops, Gangrel, Vampire Warrior. Banging and banging. Always.
All right, now after your training, what were your memories of your first match?
Oh, it was the shits. No, I shouldn't have been in there. I wasn't ready. No, it was just like, hey, we got a spot. You want to get in? And, I'm green as fuck. It's like, yeah, I want to get in. But, oh, no, I shouldn't have been in there. I was the dog shits. Like, no, yep. That's my first memory. Yep. Shouldn't have been in there. I know everybody, we're all eager as new students. We want to get in there, like, but we don't know shit. We don't know what the fuck we're doing. Like, so take your time. Like, don't be in a hurry to get out there, because people are going to remember what you do, and if you look like the shits, that's what people are going to remember about you, and then you got to change that perception. So take your time. Train. Know your shit.
All right, now how did you develop your character?
Again, that was something in training. I was originally doing another character, and then it was something that happened at my school. It was like we're putting this group together. We need somebody to do something dark. We need someone with face paint. We need it by 3-4 days. Can you do it? Do you want to do it? I'm like, yeah, okay. It was very random. Originally, there was no thought behind it. It was like, we need somebody who's ready to go by Saturday for this show. Can you do it? Come up with something. Another one of the students, we randomly came up with something. Did some face paint. We cut up some garments, and they came up with the name Holidead. Like, there was no, like, this character needs to be this. It was just like, okay, you have this look. Here's your character. Like, there was no thought originally into it, and that's when Gangrel was like, okay, you have this character, you have this look, and like that's somebody I knew personally, so he knows, like stuff I dealt with or whatever, and that's something. Again, he said, you need to tap into your demons, you need to tap into your dark side, and you need to use that because you got it. You know you have it inside, and you have to show that out into the people. So, like when people always talk about like who is Holidead, it's like, are you some Gene Simmons character? Did you rip off this person? Like, no, fuck all that. Excuse my language. I don't know if it's PG. It's not. Whatever. But no, like again, Holidead is an extension of the person behind all this. Like, I'm a little messed up in here. I got anger issues. I got other kind of issues, and like, this is me. Like, this is my Incredible Hulk for me. Like, this is my Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Like, this is my flip switch. And like, people ask like, what does it take to get ready for a match? Like, it's not much. It's really, I do flip a switch and I tap into this other person in here. And wrestling is, I don't know if people know, a lot of wrestlers we're kind of fucked up in the head, and this is a release for us. Like, this is a very big mental release, and we get to let a lot out, and that's what I do with Holidead. She's my angry psychopath with mental issues, and I get to be violent with her. I fucking love it.
Okay, now earlier in your career, you had a match on Monday Night Raw, which a lot of people remember. But how was that experience like, being in a WWE locker room as different than an indie show, and how was the experience in general?
I don't think Holidead ever had a WWE match. There might have been someone by the name of Cammy Fields that did. Now for her, you know, at the time, it was cool. It was like, you know, this is the big show or whatever. There was no, you know, AEW wasn't around, and so it was like, this is pretty cool. And like, it was only like 3 girls there. We got in the ring. We chain wrestled for like a minute, and I don't want to say the wrong name. Sarah Stock, I believe. Like, she was the coach at the time, and she watched us like work for like not even a minute. She was like, "All right, you're gonna have to match with Bailey." It was just like that. It was like, I was like, in my mind, I was marking out, but in the outside, I'm like, oh, thank you. In my mind, I'm like, oh fuck, I'm gonna have a match. Oh shit. Like, you know, I messaged my trainer. I messaged Thunder Rosa. It was like I met with Bailey for like a couple, like maybe a minute or two. We didn't even get in the ring. Like, the guys were in there. We were just outside the ring talking. We're like, oh, I'll do this or this. Like, and even it was at the time where she was having a lot of those matches against the local talent, and she even was like, it's hard for her because they wanted to put her over, and she's like, it's hard for her to do that in these matches. And she actually wanted me to get a lot in that match. Like, she was like, I want you to get a lot of heat and stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. But if you know Bailey, her old entrance, it was pretty long. So by the time she got to the ring, they were like, it was time for us to like be done. So like, you know, I'm just listening to them. You know, she wanted me to get more in, but the ref's telling me go home. It's like, go home, all right, whatever. Like, walking down to the ramp, I did, you know, I got the jobber entrance. You don't see it on TV or whatever. But I did look up in the rafters for a minute, and I did hear that the Biggie Smalls, like, it was all a dream. Like, that was cool, you know. So, like, for the moment, it was cool. But, you know, I know now, like, that's not necessarily what I want. But at the time, it was pretty dope. Whatever.
All right, now a little deeper into your career, you had a tour Japan. How was that experience? Or any memories of that?
I love Japan. If I ever had the chance to go back, I definitely would. Pandemic looming, I don't know, you know. But just everything's different in Japan. Like they're the wrestling fans. I feel like they're more students of the game. Like they're not as interactive. Like they more study. They sit and watch, and they're like, ooh. So you like, yeah, like, am I doing good? Am I fucking up? Because like they're silent for most of the time. They're just kind of like, The one thing they'll clap, they'll sit back down. You're like, so it takes a while to get used to that. From like America, it's just rowdy, loud motherfuckers, and there's like, they have their moments, they're waiting for that big moment, but other than that, they're kind of quiet, and you're like, I don't know if I'm fucking up or am I doing good? But no, like, it's great over there just because, like, the wrestling fans, they appreciate you too. Like, everybody wants to take you out, buy you drinks, buy you dinner and stuff, so, like, that's something they do a lot, and just the passion that the wrestlers themselves have, like, it's amazing. Like, I mean, it's crazy too because, like, they start their girls, like, super duper young, which I don't know if our bodies are meant to be taking those bumps, like, start training at 5, 6, or 7. That's why sometimes a lot of the Japanese girls, they retire a little bit earlier because their training is like, they're taking so many bumps and just like going freaking crazy. Like my first tour, I worked Kairi Hojo a lot. She was in WWE recently. She retired, but like even my first match with her, like we didn't really talk about anything. It was just the way timing was. I just remember her coming to me. She said, "Me, concussion, please, no bumps." And I was like, okay. So I'm just in my head, I'm thinking, all right, how many submissions do I know? But wrestling is that universal language, so it's like, I know if I got her here and I'm whipping her, she knows to go to the buckle. If I pick her up, she knows to go. I'm just putting her in some submissions. So it's like, if you're in there with a good worker, it doesn't matter like that language barrier as long as you got those little things. Again, she said, please, me no bump, submission only. It's like, all right, if I go to pick her up, she knows to go and this and that, and like, so we're off. And I got to work Io Shirai, who's in WWE now. I feel like she's one of the top talents, and like that's somebody, like, she's at where she's at because of her talents. She works her ass off. Like, she's one of the greatest people to work with, just the easiest as well. Like, got to work with a lot of good talent out there. If that answers the question, I don't know.
All right, what were your thoughts on working over in the UK?
I love the UK. Wrestling is weird in general, and I feel like I got a lot of love in the UK. Like, love that I don't get in the States. And I feel like, for me personally, if I could have stayed over there and not came back, like, I would. Like, I feel like they fuck with me harder than over here. And, like, they give me love and they want to give me opportunities. And I feel like they give me... I feel like I have more appreciation over there than I do here. And also, like, their girls, they like to go. Not saying girls here don't go, but here we always got somebody who's like, oh, please don't hit me too hard. And it's like, are you here to wrestle or you're not? The British strong style, like, they're going to hit you and lay it in, but there's a way you do it safely. And they're not bitching about, like, oh, you hit me hard. It's like, nah, you felt it, which is good. And I feel like in the U.S. a lot of times girls are like, oh, she hit me too hard. Please don't book her. I'm hurt. Like, they just want to fucking go and they want to work over there, and I love it.
All right, is there a country, if you had to pick, that you haven't worked that you'd want to work?
I've always wanted to go to Australia. Talked to Shazza McKenzie. I don't know if you guys know her. She's over there, but that's where she's from. I know she says it's kind of hard. It's not a whole lot of wrestling out there, so it's hard to get out there. It's hard for them to send somebody over when it's not a lot already. But, like, that's not somewhere I've been, and it's somewhere I would like to go down under, mate. I don't know. Did a bad Aussie accent.
All right, now what were your thoughts on tagging with Thunder Rosa?
It's amazing. I was just watching The Office recently. Any Office fans out there, and they had a quote that said, I wish I knew I was in the good old days when the good old days were happening. Like this business, there are so many, like, shitty, just, like, phony, fake people or whatever, and, like, that's my best friend, like, that's my sister, and I love doing this. So when you can do that with your best friend, when you do something you love with your best friend, it's just like, it's the best feeling in the world, whatever.
All right, now I know this is a tough question to answer, but if you give me three of your all-time favorite matches.
Versus Lana Storm. That was in the UK for Progress Wrestling. There's Toni Storm. Let's say Lana Austin in Progress Wrestling in the UK. Toni Storm in the UK. I actually fought Toni Storm in Canada, but that was for Progress Wrestling. And I'll go the third. It's one of the many matches I had with Thunder Rosa. It's actually on my YouTube channel. It is, if you look up Thunder Rosa versus Holidead, I think it's like no DQ birthday match. Because we were actually born the same year, and, like, we found out we were born like 3-4 hours apart or whatever. So, and it was like on the cusp of both our birthdays. So we were kind of arguing like whose birthday is it? It was a no DQ match. There's some piñatas involved. There's birthday cake. Somebody gets hit in the face with that. So it's a lot happening. Check that out. It's a very fun, crazy match.
All right, if you could pick one person on the indies today that you haven't worked yet, that you want to, who would that person be?
One?
Or you can give me a 2 or 3.
Okay. I don't think I worked Trish Adora in a singles match. I feel like we worked in like a 4-way in the UK, but like I feel like she's a kind of like another one of these unsung talents that's not getting a lot of props. And she's doing her thing. I would not mind throwing down with her. Over in the UK, still indies, Mercedes Blaze. I've seen her work in the UK. She throws it down as well. So shout out to both of those ladies. I hope we can do the wrestles one day.
All right, now if you could have a dream match of somebody from the past, anyone you could pick, who would it be?
Past is in there not wrestling anymore? Is that what that means?
Yeah.
Bull Nakano. Like early on, that's somebody like I watched and studied, and just her style, and just like at the time, you know, I don't know if you keep up with her now. She's lost a lot of weight, but at the time she was a bigger girl and she could fucking move. I love seeing big girls that can fucking go and can move, and they're not just like stiff giants, but like I feel like WWF, they underutilized her. That was a lot of women's wrestling, but like just check out any of her stuff, like just fucking phenomenal. Like yeah, someone I studied and would have loved to throw down with her in the past.
All right, what do you think's missing in today's wrestling product?
Oh, just giving other people a chance. I feel like there's only certain, there's like this handful of wrestlers that are given the opportunity, and people want to keep using them. They keep getting recycled over and over and over. And there's so many talents on the side, but like so many promoters don't want to do their research and be like, who else can I look at? It's like, oh, this person's hot. Let me keep recycling, keep using them over and over and over. But you got so many other people here. They're not being used. And a lot of this is because, like, who do you know? Who are you friends with? Who you get on your knees for? All this bull crap. And it's like, just giving other people a chance. Just giving other people an opportunity. Like, if this person's getting their spotlight, cool, let them get their shine. But you got a whole other group of people that you don't even know what their potential is and can help the business grow.
All right, now, do you have any advice for someone that would be wanting to get into the wrestling business?
Oh man, have some thick skin. Don't give a fuck. I say that. I feel like that's where I failed. Like I feel like I care too much. Like I always say I have a love-hate relationship with wrestling. If you ever listen to Sade's "No Ordinary Love," that for me when I hear that, that's me singing to wrestling. Like legit. Like if you care, it's gonna hurt because. I think Owen Hart had a quote. He said, just because you follow the rules and do what you're supposed to and you're a good person doesn't mean you'll get ahead. And that's true. Like, you can be the best athlete, you can be the nicest person, but still, like, it's a business, it's politics. If you're not friends with the right person or you're not schmoozing with the right person, you're not with the in crowd, you might not get that spot. And you might deserve it. You might be the hardest worker, you might be the best athlete, you might do the best promos, you might be better than everybody else. But because this person is homeboys with the booker or promoter, they're going to get the spot over you. So have tough skin and try not to take it personal.
Okay, now where can fans follow you if they're interested?
Where can you follow me? Okay, so my name is Holidead. It's Holidead. You can follow me on Twitter at Holidead. I have a Facebook fan page. It's called Holidead. I have a YouTube page, Holidead. My Instagram is Holidead and I. It's one word, Holidead, the word and, the word I, all together. Boom. If you want some merch, you can go to www.storefrontier.com/Holidead. If you want any business inquiries, not any creepy stuff, business only, HolidayWrestling@gmail.com. And I also have a pro wrestling tee store. You can check that out. Appreciate you.
All right, Holiday, we appreciate you taking your time out of your day to answer our questions.
Thank you, Hybrid Wrestling. Do some crazy shit. Women's wrestling. Do the wrestles. Let's do it.